Familiar, you're familiar. So if you don't know by now, then you should probably get familiar. You're familiar.
Hello everyone, this is Rick and I welcome you to our channel King Sacrifice. So today in this video I'm going to show you one of the greatest games ever played by Garry Kasparov in his chess career. So I think there is no much need of introducing him. He was world's number 13th chess champion, also a writer and a political activist. He was ranked world number 1 from the year 1986 to 2005. So in this game, he is playing with the black pieces against Anatoly Karpov with the white pieces. So Karpov was world's number 12th chess champion. I've also made a video on one of his greatest games. Also check that out. So without wasting any time, let's start our video. In this game, Karpov started with the move e4. Kasparov started with the move c5, Sicilian defense, knight to f3, e6, d4, c captures on d4, knight recaptures on d4, knight to c6, knight to b5, d6, c4, knight to f6, knight 1 to c3, knight a6, knight to a3, d5, c captures on d5, e captures on d5, e captures on d5. So black here gave one pawn in order to get some active gameplay. Knight to b4, bishop to e2, bishop to c5, both side castles, bishop to f3, bishop to f5, bishop to g5, rook e8, queen to d2, b5, rook a to d1, and after knight to d3, white would have played the move d6, queen captures on d6, bishop captures on a8, rook recaptures on a8, bishop captures on f6, queen captures on f6. So this would have been played by white, but in the game, Karpov chose to play knight a to b1, after which black replied with the move h6, bishop to h4, b4, and now here in the game the move knight to a4 was played, but if he would have went to knight to e2, then queen to b6 after knight to c1, which is suggested by the engine, knight to e5 would have been played, and also the bishop is attacking the knight on b1, so knight to b3, then knight captures on f3, g captures on f3. So you see that white is rewarded with a fractured pawn structure on the king side. So that is why in the game knight to a4 was played, after which bishop to d6, bishop to g3, rook to c8, b3 g5, bishop captures d6, queen captures on d6, g3, knight to d7, and now here bishop to g2 was played in the game. Let me show you that if knight to b2, then again queen to f6. So if here knight captures on d3, bishop captures on d3, so it is not considered good to take the bishop back with the queen, because now knight to e5. Now you see that the queen cannot move on any of these squares. So if the queen moves to d2, then knight captures on f3, forking the king and the queen. Then if the queen moves to d4, then again the same. If the queen to e3, then knight captures on f3, giving a check with the knight and also attacking the queen with the rook. So here it is good for white to play bishop to g2, after which bishop captures on f1 and rook captures on f1. So but instead bishop to g2 was played in the game, after which queen to f6, a3, a5, a captures on b4, A captures on b4, queen to a2, bishop to g6, d6, g4, queen to d2. So now here queen returned to d2 just to attack the h6 pawn. So the king moved to g7 just to defend it, after which f3 just trying to exchange the pawns and gain some spaces. So here queen captures on d6, and here it is suggested for white to play king to h1 just to getting out of some checks from this diagonal. But in the game, after f takes on g4, queen to d4 check, king to h1, knight to f6, and after rook to f4, here knight to e4 was played, but instead of rook to f4, here h3 would have been played, but after rook to f4 was played in the game, and after knight to e4, queen captured the knight on d3. So white just lost his queen after knight to f2 check and rook to f2. Then bishop captures the queen. So let me tell you that if here king to g1, then knight to h3 check, king to h1, queen captures on d3, rook captures on d3, rook to e1, giving a check. And now here bishop to f1 and bishop captures on d3, so it will lead to a mating combination after some moves, and white will just lose it. And if here instead of bishop to f1, if rook to f1, then rook captures on f1, bishop captures on f1, bishop to e4, giving a check, bishop to g2, rook to c1, rook to d1, and rook captures on d1 would be a checkmate. So keeping that in mind, white played rook captures on f2, after which bishop captures the d3 queen, rook f to d2, queen to e3, rook captures on d3, and now here black played rook to c1, knowing that if the rook captures the queen on e3, then rook captures on d1, and if bishop to f, and now only move bishop to f1, then rook captures on e3, and one of the two pieces will just fall. That is why in the game knight to b2 was played, after which queen to f2, knight to d2, and now here black would have played rook to e2, which would have led to a mate into combination, but in the game rook captures on d1 was played, after which knight captures on d1, rook to e1, knight to f1, rook captures on f1, and bishop captures on f1, and queen captures on f1 would be a checkmate. So this was one of his greatest game ever played by Kasparov. So this was a world championship match in the year 1985. So where Kasparov managed to win the title and became the world champion. So by this we have came to an end of our video. And if you like this game, then also do not forget to press the like button and also support us by subscribing our channel, and also do not forget to press the bell icon so that you will get a notification whenever I'll upload a video. Thank you for watching and see you on the next episode.